In heaven, all wounds are going to be healed. Everyone will be whole, with the exception of one, and that is Jesus. His nail prints will never be healed. The scars on his head will never be healed. And why will God allow those to remain? So that every time we see him, we can be reminded of the price that he has paid for our salvation. It does not mean that God is unable to heal that. He could certainly do it. But it stays there as a reminder to us of a tremendous price that has been paid. Again, Jesus said, "Peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, I am sending you." What is the one thing that our world needs today? It is peace. Who is the only one that can truly bring peace? Jesus Christ. And this is a message that I have done here and done several other places at Christmas time, called Prince of Peace. Remember the prophecy from the book of Isaiah, I believe it's Isaiah chapter 9. His name is Wonderful Counselor. It goes on, Prince of Peace. The only place to find peace is in Jesus Christ. The only place where we can be truly healed with peace is the peace of God. Back in the 1950s, Billy Graham wrote a best-selling book called Peace with God. I believe it was in the 1990s or early 2000s. He rewrote that book and updated it. Still called Peace with God. The only place to find peace is with God. Last Sunday, as you know, I was preaching at the First Baptist Church in Sharon, and I was preaching on John 3:16. And I happened to mention something. I said, if you think that Donald Trump can solve all the problems in this country, you're wrong. He cannot. But then neither can Joe Biden. He cannot solve all of the problems. The only one who can solve the problems is Jesus Christ. There is a very prominent politician, one whom you've all heard of, who was a very prominent member of that church. I knew him as a little boy growing up. Mark Longetti is a member of First Baptist Sharon. He's there every Sunday, or just about every Sunday. Very active lay leader. He kind of runs the service before I take over. He's sitting down, and I said, "Sorry, Mark, politicians aren't going to fix this mess." And he understood that. It wasn't a slam against him. Yeah, Mark Longetti may be a Democrat, but he is a devout, godly man, very involved in his church. Again, I've known him since he was a little kid. He's a few years younger than I am. So when you pull that lever for Mark Longetti, know that he's a good man. And he's smart. He runs on both tickets, so he gets it. You can vote for him as a Republican or as a Democrat, but he is a Democrat. Anyways, the only one who is going to bring peace to this land, and as I mentioned last Sunday, and it's so true, it is one heart changed at a time. And that's what God does. There's a story of an old fisherman who, after many years at sea, decided to hang it up and sell his boat and live his retirement years. Because of his love for the sea, he lived very close to the sea. And after his retirement, he had a habit of getting up very early every morning, right around sunrise, and walking up and down the beach. And the neighbors noticed some strange behavior from this old retired fisherman. He would bend down, pick something up, and toss it into the ocean. Up and down the beach, tossing things into the ocean. And the neighbors got very curious as to what he was doing. What's that old fool doing? So one day, one of the neighbors came out and confronted him. "Old man, you're a fool. What are you doing?" And he said, "You see, these starfish, they get brought in here at high tide, and when the tide goes out, they're stranded on the beach." He says, "You're a fool. Don't you realize there are millions of starfish washed on shores all around the world? What difference are you going to make?" And he bends down and he says, "For this one, a lot," and tosses it into the ocean. It's about one at a time. One at a time. And that reminds me of the joke. It's not really a joke. It's more of a serious kind of story that's in a joke book that I want to end with. And this is what it's really all about. A little boy goes to church for the first time, and it's one of those churches with stained glass windows. And he says to his mother, "What are those windows?" And she goes, "Oh, that's the saints." So he goes home, and his dad says, "Well, what did you learn in church today?" "I learned about the saints." And his father said, "Well, who are the saints?" "They're the people that the light shines through." They're the people that the light shines through. That's in a joke book, but that's kind of serious. That's what it's all about. We need to let the light shine through us. Let the peace of God go into the world. We are called to make a difference, one life at a time. Even when Billy Graham was having those massive crowds, it was salvation of one soul at a time. Because as people came forward, there were trained counselors there who dealt with one at a time. Billy Graham would deal with the crowd, and then when they came down, they had somebody that they could talk to get information, to pray with them. It's about one at a time. Jesus Christ is alive, and he is coming again. And he can fix this country, but only he can do it. And that's all I've got today.
Praise the Lord.